Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another battle in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. In today's battle, we find ourselves embroiled in a bloody conflict known as the Albigensian Crusades. The King of France was using this papal-sanctioned crusade to his benefit. Not only was he purging the southern regions of France of the Cathar faith, but was also expanding his influence into the county of Toulouse. The Count of Toulouse was a known harborer of Cathars and a perfect target for the French king. In early autumn, a large army led by the French king arrived at the gates of the Cathar stronghold, Toulouse itself. Yet Raymond of Toulouse was not without allies. Peter II, King of Aragon, was sympathetic to the Cathar cause. Knowing of the French king's intentions, an army from Aragon arrived at Toulouse to aid Raymond in its defense. It arrived just in time. The first attacking army on the battlefield today is the Kingdom of France, commanded by myself, and I represent the King's Own army, so of course I plan to eradicate the Cathar faith and bring the county of Toulouse under my sphere of influence. But I've got a pretty solid force on the battlefield, but let's just begin from the flanks here. I have 2 units of the Brabanzonen spearmen on each flank, so totaling 4. And then it is the same with my cavalry as well. I have 2 units of the French Chevalier on either flank, totaling 4 as well. And then we get into the main body of my infantry, which consists of 4 units of the Piquier, or my French pikemen. And then on the towers, I have 8 units of the dismounted French Chevalier. I've got 6 on the towers, and then you can see that I do have a couple of units in reserve as well. But I've also brought some of the staple Tier 1 sergeants to the battlefield. I have 6 of them, so no shortage of infantry. We're going to need a lot of infantry to scale the high walls of Toulouse. For my missile units, I brought 4 units of archers and 4 units of the arbaletiers, or the crossbowmen. And then we do have the French king himself on the battlefield, just a glorious-looking bodyguard and banner. Love the deep blue with the yellow, very, very cool. And also a very stern face as well. He is ready to conquer the south of France and expand his influence. I also have 4 units of axe sergeants here on the right flank, so these are my shock infantry. I'm going to save them for a little bit later, and because this is a Tier 1 battle only, we did not have any access to gunpowder, so with that in mind, I brought 1 trebuchet. So I will be looking to possibly make some breaches, bring down some towers, and maybe alight some of the houses within the city of Toulouse itself. But that rounds out the king's army, so let's go ahead and take a look at his ally. The second attacking army on the battlefield today is also the Kingdom of France, and this one is commanded by Khalid Abin al-Abis. I hope that's how I pronounce your name. If it's not, feel free to yell at me later. But he also has a pretty solid force on the battlefield, consisting again of a lot of infantry. So on his siege towers, his 6 units of siege towers, he has 6 units of the dismounted French Chevalier, but he's gone for a lot more spears than me. He actually has 6 units of the Brabanzonen spearmen, and he also has 3 units of the Brabanzonen, so this is the sword and shield variant. Very, very cool. I love the variant in their shields as well, some fighting with the round shields and others with the kite shields. Right behind that, he has 6 units of archers. Over on this flank, he's brought some other units. He's got 2 units of the Piquier, 2 units of the Goussamier de Commune. He has 1 unit of the Sergeant d'Armes, or the Sergeant of Arms. I believe these guys are capped to 1 as well. That's why he's only brought 1. Very cool color scheme once again. He does have a trebuchet, and then he has 6 units of axe sergeants, so a lot of shock here. There is the general's bodyguard at the back, and for his cavalry, he's actually brought 4 units of Clien, I think is how you pronounce it, so he has 2 here. And then if we zip over to the tree line, he's actually got 2 more hidden in this small stand of forest. And that rounds out the French attackers, so let's go ahead and take a look at the defenders. The first defending army on the battlefield today is the Crown of Aragon, commanded by Babylon, and you can see he has brought a large host of warriors to help defend the city of Toulouse. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he has brought. He has a few units of the Pionniers, I think is how you pronounce it, and if I am mispronouncing any of these Spanish words, please let me know down in the comments below. But I think it's Piones, I think is the correct pronunciation. But he has a couple units of these, but the reason that I really want to get that right is because he has a lot of units that have that word in it. So I'm going to start sounding like a broken record to any of you who are watching from Spain. But we've got, I believe he has 5 or 6 units of the Piones Spearmen. And then on the walls, he has his heavy infantry here. He's got the dismounted Hidalgos? Hidalgos, I think is how you pronounce it. Also in the front, again, that word again, the Piones armored crossbowmen, 4 units of them up on the walls. We've got some more dismounted Hidalgos here, and more Piones spearmen. And then he's got a couple units, I believe 3, of the Almogaveres. These guys are a really cool infantry unit because they're actually a javelin infantry unit. There's not too many of those in the Medieval Kingdoms rosters for any factions, but they can do a lot of armor-piercing damage early on before charging in, and they've got pretty good stats in melee as well. You can see not too shabby at all. So hopefully they will be able to do some damage to the French attackers. Over here again, more Piones spearmen, more dismounted Hidalgos, more Almogaveres, and then in the center he's just got a ton of that heavy infantry, more spearmen here. He's also got 3 units of Spanish pikemen. And then for his cavalry, he has 2 units of the Caballeros back here. And then if we saw right at the beginning here, where we started the army comps, he has 2 units of Hidalgos. So he's got some of the mounted variant and the dismounted variant on the battlefield. So that rounds out the Crown of Aragon, so let's go ahead and take a look at his ally. And last but not least, the final defending army on the battlefield is, of course, the County of Toulouse, commanded by Azarian Fox. And you can see a stark contrast between the Aragon defense and the Toulouse defense. We have barely any units from Toulouse up on the walls. We only have a few select cheap units of Rebalds here defending strategic areas like the steps moving down into the city itself, but the rest of the army of Toulouse is within the city, not up on the walls. So let's take a look at what he has brought in the front lines. He's got a few units of the Pioten Leves, so 2 units of spearmen there. He's also got 3 units of his archers at the front lines, and then he's got 3 more, I believe, scattered elsewhere. He's got 1 there, 1 there, and he has 3 units of the Arbaletier in the town center. For the rest of his infantry, it mostly consists of the Pioten Leves, and we've also got some of the better spearmen over here in his second layer of defense, the Bilis de Commune. For his cavalry, he has 2 units of the Chevalier. I love, actually, how we've got a lot of red in here, too. Very, very cool. I love this one here, actually. That's amazing. I love the horse covering. I don't know the technical term, but that is beautiful. Really, really nice. And I love the red and black checkers, too. Very cool. I could look at those Chevalier all day, but we also have the Client over here, 2 units of them. They also look pretty Aragonese. I love the matching Aragonese symbols on their shields here. Very, very nice. But that pretty much rounds out his cavalry. And then for the rest of his infantry, it's being held back here. He has 4 units of the Sergeants, 4 units of the Guisarmier de Commune. And then in the very far back town center, he has 3 units of the Axe Sergeants and 3 units of his best units, the dismounted Chevalier. And that rounds out his force. Oh, and apologies, I totally forgot to show you the general, Raymond IV here, but we're going to pretend that he is Raymond VI, because I believe that was the one who was involved in the Albigensian Crusades. But that rounds out all of the army comps, guys, so let's go ahead and get to the battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and before us we have the brave men of Toulouse watching as the massive siege towers of the French are pushed to the walls. And once they reach the walls, they will create many gateways to the city of Toulouse. Gateways that these men must defend. And this isn't really like an ordinary siege. The men of Toulouse know that there is no mercy should the French take the city. It's a well-known fact that their Count Raymond of Toulouse, is a known harborer of Cathars. And in the minds of any crusader, that would be heresy. It's directly against what the Pope has called for. So with this crusade being sanctioned by the Pope, there will be no mercy from either the Pope or the King of France. So it is basically a do-or-die situation for the men of Toulouse. And you can see that we already have the French forces pushing over the walls and just knocking back these lightly armored rebalds here and driving them away from these steps. And this already gives us a gateway into the inner city. Let's go ahead and zoom out so you guys can see the battlefield as a whole, and this isn't a very long battle for 1212, only 30 plus minutes, but it is a very large battle with 23,000 men on this battlefield, so a very large battle indeed. Looks like we are here just in time to see the French forces pushing off of the siege towers and challenging the Aragon units in melee. There we go, creating a bit of a beachhead there. Well done, well done. And the French dismounted Chevalier, they're a very solid unit, but it'll be interesting to see how they do against the dismounted Hidalgos, or Hidalgos. There we go, more units moving on to the walls, and now it looks like the Aragonese are very intent on defending these walls to the last man, which is good for the men of Toulouse. That means that this left side of the city is fairly secure, and they should be able to hold for quite some time. We've also got some of the Pyonese armored crossbowmen down here actually getting some shots off as the French kind of push and make a little beachhead here in between the two units, the Hidalgos, and we've also got the Almogaveres on the walls as well. But as you can see, I have some of my units quickly moving over here because we did actually have a Cathar sally out here from Azarian Fox, all of his Chevalier and his Client moving out of the city. But thankfully, I know about his very early on siege tactics, and I was prepared for this with my 4 units of Piquier, and I've got my Branzonen Spearmen over here. I've got all of my cavalry very close as well, because I don't want to lose all of my archers and crossbowmen early on. But if we take a look at the wall fight, I am having a much easier time than my French counterpart on the other side. As I said during the army comps, the men of Toulouse have defended their walls very lightly, I might add. Only a couple of units defending choke points here. You can see more rebauds over here in a shield wall defending the steps down into the city. We've also got some of the Milice de Commune moving over to defend this point as well. But yeah, Azarian Fox is deploying a little bit further back, which is interesting because it's only a tier 1 battle and we don't have any access to gunpowder, so all of these towers and no choke points in the walls will be made, so the towers will be active and there'll be no holes or breaches in the wall. So it's very, very imperative that he holds these walls, because that's going to be such a big boon for him. But it looks like he's holding the choke points down just off of the walls, and you can see that we do have a capture zone here as well. So as long as he has units within that capture zone that outnumber mine up on the walls, those towers will continue to fire. Now, because this is such a large battle, I'm probably gonna have to utilize the slow motion quite a lot, because otherwise it's just going to be an absolute slideshow. But of course we will toggle between the slow motion and regular speed. I just want to give you guys some really nice cinematic shots here. I love tier 1 battles because they're so quick and dirty. I know half an hour doesn't really sound like that, but when you're used to recording, you know, like an hour and 15-minute long battles, 30-minute battle in 1212 is really nothing. So I want to make sure that we're getting ample opportunity to see some very cinematic shots. But it looks like down here, yeah, we've got some sergeants from Toulouse here and some rebauds. I'm not sure, he might actually be sending them up onto the walls here. It's hard to say. I think he is forced to do that, though, because as you can see, I actually moved some of my siege towers over here onto this flank, and I'm actually pressuring the Aragonese Pyonese armored crossbowmen that are nicely deployed here on this lower wall, but a lot of his crossbows are actually undefended here, so if Azarian doesn't do something about this quickly, I'll be able to push my French Chevalier into those crossbows and eliminate them. So with that in mind, I think he is sending some units up. It's really hard to see. I think he Yeah, we do have some battling going on up on the walls here, but I'm just going to push on through and completely ignore his units because it is too good of an opportunity to not go for these armored crossbowmen and eliminate them early on. Over here as well, you can see that the Aragon player is not noticing that I am firing my trebuchet into his cavalry here. The Hidalgos over there, just a prime target, especially on that hill too. You can see the rocks as they roll down, and that actually causes them to die as well as it rolls down from the hill. So if I get a really good high shot and it rolls down, the Hidalgos are getting really cut down by that. You can see they're down to 53, and this one is down to 59. So eliminating 2 solid units of cavalry early on is definitely going to be good for the French. Also, look at those volleys from my French counterpart as well, just annihilating that unit of Spanish pikemen. Oh my goodness. I would love to actually see another volley of that, so I'm not sure if he's going to move it yet. Let's actually zoom in there with it on regular speed. I know it is quite framey. I do apologize for that, guys, but again, Total War Attila with 23,000 men on the battlefield. This is kind of what we get. But come on, get another volley. Is he gonna... Surely he'll fire another volley across at that. That was beautiful. Yeah, here we come. All right, let's put this on slow motion as they come down. And zoom in. Yeah, very lightly armored. This is the other reason that I love Tier 1 only battles so much, is because they have no armor. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is... I don't even know if we can show that. That was just a slaughter. Wow. Wow. And just like that, that unit of Piquier, I don't know how to pronounce it, is just gone. It's not even going to rout. 5 men left in this unit. Look at this, and some of them too still alive. This guy has at least 5 arrows in him. This guy as well. Oh, that was just a slaughter. My goodness, so very well done there. Yeah, you can see, I think he was focusing all of those units of archers up and over. So I don't know what he's focusing on now. He's probably firing up and over, maybe going after some of the spearmen or swords over here. This is a perfect target. Yeah, he's actually going for the other unit. He's going for the other unit of pikemen. Oh my goodness, no chill from the French. Just hitting hard from the very start of the battle. And Aragon, oh man, just like that, losing half of the unit of pikemen. And I think he only has 1 more unit over here, actually. He brought 3 units in total, I'm pretty sure. So that is disgusting. He's trying to get that unit out of range, as you can see. But all of these archers over here are just prime positioning to fire up and over. So well done there. Well done there. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on the other side here. So I am muscling my way through. I have surrounded the peones here, or sorry, the rebots, but we do have the peloton leves, the spearmen, basically, the Toulouse spearmen. They have moved in to defend that choke point so that we aren't able to get off of those walls. We've also got a unit of rebalds here as well, and yes, it looks like Azrian did push his sergeants up to stop my dismounted French chevalier from getting at those peones armored crossbowmen, but look at the amount of damage that's been caused to this cavalry already, and unfortunately, the Aragon player just still hasn't noticed this yet. It's very, very unfortunate. He did manage to get that unit away with about half strength. Over here as well, I'm finally starting to cause some major damage to the city itself. Again, just trying to affect the morale of those units with all of these burning buildings here. We've got some of the axe sergeants from the county of Toulouse moving forwards as well. I guess they're going to be called to the front line earlier than expected. We've also got a lot of the polearms held in reserve for Razor and Fox, and we've got some of the spearmen there as well. And there we go. You can see we've got some shots moving up and over and trying to burn down some of the larger buildings in Toulouse. We've actually got the main, it looked like one of the main church buildings actually in Toulouse completely on fire. And yes, still over here with my defensive formation, but I don't believe Azrian tries to push out of the city anymore. So let's go ahead and focus on some of the more gruesome fighting in the center. We've actually got the Axe Sergeants moving in here as well. Yeah, very, very slideshowy at the moment. Apologies for that, guys. But actually, let's just enjoy it on slow motion. I think that slow motion isn't too bad. The only reason I don't like slow motion is because we actually lose the actual noises from the battle. But I think it's actually pretty cinematic to watch them fighting in melee while utilizing slow motion, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But again, I did send my best units up onto the walls. I do have my dismounted French Chevalier. They are actually the first ones into battle. I really wanted to hit, and to hit hard. My sergeants aren't as good, but they will be able to come up and provide supporting roles to my dismounted French Chevalier. And oh no, we've got one that's on fire, I believe. That's not good. Okay, it looks like he was able to extinguish himself without even noticing that he was on fire. Fair enough. Axe Sergeants really pushing back my units now. There we go. And of course, we do have some of the spears left over as well from the original defense. There we go. Cut them down. Well done. Let's go ahead and go back to play and take a look at this huge slog happening over here on these walls. And as I said, I was so impressed with the Aragon player because you don't really see too many people really investing their entire force to holding those walls, but I really like the aggressive play from the Crown of Aragon, holding the walls to the last man. And that's one of the other reasons that I really enjoy having Tier 1 only battles, is because I find that too many times in 12-12, when there's a Tier 3 option, people will just bring gunpowder and obliterate the walls in all of the towers, and then it basically just becomes a land battle inside the city. I mean, yes, you do have, you know, some buildings, so you have to kind of deal with pathfinding, but essentially it's not a siege anymore because you eliminated all of the walls pretty much before the battle even began. So with Tier 1 only battles, when we only have access to things like trebuchets and catapults that do next to no damage to those walls, it makes for some very interesting fighting and also some very aggressive fighting from the defenders, which I definitely like. Over here, as you can see that, I'm sure you guys were able to see that, but a lot of volleys of arrows coming down on my men there. Very unfortunate for me to see, but I think that the dismounted French Chevalier actually have some pretty decent missile block. So if there was anything I wanted him to focus his archers on, it is them. If we take a look actually at their stats, as we are getting volleyed to death, well, their missile block is 40, so it's not crazy. It's not the best. Actually, the Pioten leves here actually have better missile block. The Axe Sergeants, though, only have 5 missile blocks, so Azrian is going to have to be careful not to get too much friendly fire. And there we go. Looks like we did manage to break the Spearman there and capture our first way off of the walls. So I should be committing some more of my forces here very soon. Actually, it looks like I'm activating my Axe Sergeants to begin moving on in. I haven't forgotten about all of that cavalry, though. I'm going to have to be very careful with that, especially once I break through these little choke points here. It'll leave me in a pretty good position to just get charged by that cavalry. Let's zoom on into the front lines once again and see the fighting. The Rebod's actually putting up a very good fight here, I do have to say. Very strong defense from them, especially since they're such a trash unit. Or supposed to be such a trash unit. I mean, look at they're basically wearing like a leather tunic, and they're fighting like basically knights with actual like chainmail and swords and shields. I mean, I don't know what their weapons are. They've got various axes. Looks like mostly fighting with axes. I'm sure a couple have swords as well. But we've spent a lot of time over here. Let's quickly run over to the other side and really enjoy some of this intense wall fighting here. Yes, you can see that we have the French pushing in great numbers up onto the walls here. And yeah, there's the Hidalgos. The dismounted Hidalgos, they are fighting in melee. I'm not sure if these are the French axe sergeants. I believe that they are coming off the walls. Yes, they are. So let's actually kind of move across here and zoom down and see some of this fighting here. The axe sergeants should pack a pretty heavy punch. Look at that hit back, though. Oh, come on. The Hidalgos really hemming in these axe sergeants. Not a lot of room for them to swing their great heavy axes. The Hidalgos could have the upper hand in this engagement. And if we just look along the wall, tons of different little pockets of fighting going on. If we actually zip around to the other side here, we can actually see some more axe sergeants fighting many units of Hidalgos on the battlefield. Oh, and I'm seeing a couple of heads rolling down as well. Yes. That is awesome. Let's go ahead and put this back onto play. Zoom on in. Yes, hold, men, hold. Hold, brave Aragonese. Pressed up against the other sides of the wall here. The sheer mass of the French forces being committed to these walls is pushing them back further and further and further. Let's zoom out and take a look at the city as a whole here. So yes, my ally is really committing a lot of forces there, but he's actually also tentative of some cavalry charges, so very smartly he has his pikemen and his polearms set up to defend there. Now, I'm not sure if the Aragonese player was aware of that. He could have probably used some archers to fire at those units, but now that I'm looking at it, he may not have brought any archers. I don't see any. Yeah, because Toulouse definitely had archers, but I don't know if Aragon had archers, so that could have been one of the problems for the Aragon player not being able to take out those crossbows, because in the newest patches, crossbows don't have the ability to arc over the walls, so he would have had to put them up in a position here and then fire down on them, and I think that might have been out of range. However, the French not looking too hot over here. A lot of the dismounted French chevaliers starting to waver. Some of the axe sergeants fighting the dismounted Hidalgos in melee, they're not looking too hot as well. So still a very tough fight over on this side. However, here, I'm doing pretty well. I finally broke through with my French Chevalier. Managed to get a solid charge on those axe sergeants there. And over here, though, this is not going to be good. You can see that I am breaking those rebauds. I did get a good flanking shot on those rebauds, or flanking charge, I should say. But now we've got the French Client, or the Toulouse Client, moving over here. I do see this, but I don't think that I have enough time to form shield wall. They're basically right around the corner here. And here we go. You can see that I am trying to form up some kind of battle line, but the French cavalry is pushing forwards at a very quick rate. Come on, let's see. Form shield wall, come on! Let's actually just put that on slow motion. As you can see, panic ensuing in my ranks here. And look at that, oh, a couple of them ahead were actually just thrown back, but that actually saved a lot of the charge there. Only hitting mainly the left side of the unit. A couple of them are pushing, though, to catch a couple of the other dismounted French Chevalier in melee. Oof, that was a really good charge there, and I was not prepared for that. You can see I am pulling back a couple more of my healthy sergeants and moving my French Chevalier up to try and push those Client away. 16 kills on that charge, 17 and counting. Over here, though, we do also have some of the French Client. I wasn't sure if he was going to push through here or not, so I do have my cavalry close at hand, but I'm going to just push on the flank of these Guisarme Commune and the early period sergeants, and just keep a watchful eye on that. Still committing even more forces onto these walls as well, trying to capture this tower, but I have to be careful. If I capture this tower, it will actually destroy all three of my units that I have committed on the walls, and we've got the Aragonese crossbowmen here, still ripe for flanking if I can break Azrian's units. Over here, still a very, very bloody fight for the walls. Again, the Aragonese holding this area to the last man. Even some of their very lightly armored spearmen are up there challenging some of the dismounted chevalier in melee. This guy actually, that guy fighting with almost like a cleaver. That is insane. Such a tough fight here for the French. Oh, we've also got some... Is this some of the... Okay, I was going to say, is that some of the Aragonese cavalry outside? But no. We just have the Clien moving forwards. It looks like we do have some of the dismounted Hidalgos that have actually... I don't know if they've accidentally moved outside of the city or what, but here we go. That was a pretty good charge into the side of that unit, and it also effectively ensures that they will not be making it back in to the safety of the city. So well done there, eliminating that threat. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else is going on over here. Yeah, Azrian has pulled back, and I have formed a very beefy line here with my infantry. I've got them in shield wall, and I've got some pikemen there as well. But Azrian does see that I have some pikemen, and if we look just over here, we've got the archers focusing them with that oh-so-deadly arcing fire up and over the ruined buildings here. There we go, firing up and over. That is going to eliminate one of those units of pikemen very quickly. Let's actually try and zoom in so you guys can see some of the casualties taking place there. Thankfully, I do have my units of sergeants there in shield wall, so they are defending my pikemen relatively well. Again, aiding the pikemen with their own missile block. But give it time, and I will certainly be just worn away by that archer fire. Let's go ahead and see what else is going on. I've got, yeah, a lot of my cavalry inside the city. We've got some pretty decent fights here in the center where we've got one unit of the Milice de Commune, or the French Toulouse Spears, holding back a lot of my French infantry. And we also have reserves coming up as well. You can see we've got some polearm units actually moving forwards, and it looks like another unit of swordsmen. And we've got more troops being committed over to the right flank, closer to where the Aragonese are fighting, or the Crown of Aragon. Looks like I did somehow get some of my men in behind this unit of spearmen there, but we are being cut down, and it looks like the polearms are actually going to let those spears fall where they stand and just form up a secondary battle line instead. Over here, ever so wary of that cavalry, I've formed up my unit of sergeants here in shield wall as well. Don't want them to be able to break through. And actually, before we move on, I've got a unit of archers with a perfect position here, actually firing down onto all that cavalry. You can see the cavalry that is put in reserve as well. I am focusing that down. However, Azrian sees this, and he is really intent on destroying these archers with his own. Getting pretty bloodied up there from those volleys from the Toulouse archers. But if we zoom in over there, I'm sure you will see I'm getting some pretty good volleys on that cavalry, and it's also facing away from me as well. So that's not very good for the French cavalry. Yeah, he wants to get the Caballeros and the Clien out of there. We've also got another unit of early period Caballeros fighting in melee. Yeah, not where you want your cavalry to be. You should try and pull them back and utilize them later on when we actually get into the city itself. And speaking of that, still on this side, there seems to be no progress from the French. It looks like the Aragonese are still holding very strongly. Some healthy units of the dismounted Hidalgos on those walls. Got the axe sergeants here with 90 remaining. We've got the dismounted French chevalier, 127 remaining. Yeah, it's just not looking very good. We are breaking some units of the cheaper Pionnier spearmen there, but all in all, the French still, I would say, are on the back foot here. More militia spearmen being formed up as well to plug the gaps where necessary. And now I've started to bring in my pikemen, and the pikemen should be able to push through those spearmen with relative ease. You can see that they've already forced the spearmen back, and now the spearmen are basically fighting my pikemen instead of my infantry. There we go. Push forwards, pikemen. Force them back. Force them back. A very tough fight so far. Very tough fight. If you look at what is left in the town center, there isn't too much left. Most of the units in the town center are from the county of Toulouse, and actually in the second area line too, it's mostly the county of Toulouse. All of the units from the Crown of Aragon are present in this area of the fight. And actually, it looks like the general's bodyguard there actually being depleted quite heavily as well. Don't know if it was being focused upon by archer fire or artillery, but he is down to 17 out of 50 with no kills so far, so he hasn't seen combat as of yet. And oh, look at this over here as well. Well done with the positioning there of those French archers. He's actually getting a flanking volley up over the walls, hitting that last unit of Aragon pikemen. Ooh, that is not good if you are rooting for the defenders, the Crown of Aragon, where he is doing quite well on the wall. He is suffering in the streets, losing a lot of his key... they would be key... holders of these choke points, or choke point holders, because he didn't bring any. I don't think he brought any polearms. It was just the 3 units of pikemen. He does have a unit of infantry there. I think what is it? It's a unit of Pionnier spearmen. So I think he is trying to also use the tactic of trying to use the melee block, or sorry, the missile block of the Pionnier spearmen to block the shots and keep his pikemen alive. But well done there. Look at this perfect positioning over here. Yeah, he can arc right up over the walls and volley that unit of pikemen. Yeah, and as he focuses it, you can clearly see that those numbers are dropping quite significantly. My goodness. We've also got a unit here of Cavalleros of the early period. I don't know why they're over here. The French haven't conquered the gate just yet, so there's not really any worry about them moving through. Have they broken the gate? They have broken through the gate. However, if the French move through here, they're just going to lose a lot of their men to the oil, because it's still held by Aragon, as you can see, or the county of Toulouse. So that would be a huge risk if he moved all of his French forces through that gate. That would be a lot of damage that he could have otherwise avoided. Over here, things have kind of calmed down a little bit. Not too much else going on. It's a bit of a stalemate between me and Azrian because we both got our cavalry here. You can see actually he's pulled his cavalry pretty far back into that corner. I don't know if he was trying to hide it for later or what. But I am forcing very aggressively down this center street here, pushing with my dismounted French Chevalier and my Piquier, or my Picien. Oh, those volleys from those archers, though. I know he's focusing my pikemen with everything he has. And we've got some more of the polearms moving forwards to defend this choke point. And it looks like I have activated my cavalry. What is this killing over here, the gate? Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I think I did lose quite a few of my cavalry, as you can see, to the gate oil, which I was very frustrated with during the game because I had actually captured this gate before I moved them through. You can see I have no gate damage, so I would have had to capture it to move my units through, but I actually lost a lot of my cavalry doing so for some bizarre reason. I don't exactly know why. But here we go, pushing forwards once again, trying to conquer more of the city and just give us a bit more breathing space, because at the moment I'm a little bit too compacted in that one little area. And I'm basically only fighting on like 2 or 3 different choke points here against the county of Toulouse and the Aragonese. Over here, let's actually do some more slow motion and enjoy some more of the fighting up on the walls here. Let's take a look at what's going on. So the French Chevalier, they have actually separated the Aragonese forces. You can see that we've got some of the Almogaveres up here on the walls fighting in melee on this side. And then we've also got some of the cheaper spears here as well. And I really want to just see this guy. Oh no, what are you doing? He's fallen down. I was going to say, I want to see him actually get a couple of kills here since he's behind enemy lines. It looks like he is still alive, though. Let's quickly focus over here. Yes, look at this. Oh, I love the meat cleavers that they are fighting with. That is insane. Come on, force them back. Force them back. Did this guy get up yet? Yes, he did. Well done. He is completely surrounded at this point. Poor guy. Come on. Don't get killed. Don't get knocked down. Hopefully he'll survive, but I really doubt it. His friends are quite a ways away. But yes, they are pushing very hard over on this flank. And we've got the Axe Sergeants conquering a pretty good chunk of wall here. They're actually facing two different directions, like they've captured it and are formed up. I think that they probably should continue to push, though. The Hidalgos over here are surrounded, and they're starting to become exhausted fighting these dismounted French Chevalier. Well, look at all of the Aragonese units here. That is insane. That's probably too many. You don't want that many units on the wall. Let's get a good zoom in at the front line there. Oh, there we go. Some of the spearmen slaughtering a unit of French Chevalier, or a man in the unit. Yeah, a lot of units from Aragon there. And over here as well, looks like they're actually trying to hold in the Gatehouse. So do we have French units that are moving through? We have some Brabanzonen spearmen actually moving through the gate. So are they losing a lot to the oil? Let's actually zoom in and take a look. They must be. Yeah, there we go. Actually, I think they might all be just inside the point where the oil does pour through. However, they probably lost a lot of men in their unit. We do have the Almogaveres, though, breaking. We've got this unit here of, what is this, Axe Sergeants, it looks like, that are breaking. Ooh, yeah. More Axe Sergeants up on the walls here that have broken. So even still, with, I'd say, half of the battle is already gone. And the French look no further into their conquest of the walls than they did when we began. So just such a desperate fight. We've come back over here as well, where you can see that the Hidalgos over here are pretty much forced into a single solitary line. There's so many of the French units up here that they've just forced the men of Aragon right to the edge of the wall. And is this the elite unit of Sergeant d'Arms? Yes, it is. So they're up on the wall starting to get some good kills, and unfortunately a lot of these Aragon units are just exhausted from the constant fighting. And there we go. Looks like we did have to get the general out of there once again. He hasn't lost any more in his unit, but he is being focused by something. We've also got a very depleted unit of Aragon pikemen here as well. And, oh, yes, look, this tower actually coming down here. I think I did lose quite a few of my units, albeit looks like Azrian's unit did suffer as well. My archers are still here. They're still standing. I believe Azrian has had to focus his archers, somewhere else. And he's actually firing up over the walls and getting some really good flanking fire on my dismounted French Chevalier, really weakening this position for me. Thankfully, though, his pole arms are also suffering a pretty poor fate as well. How we doing over here? We've actually got a pretty solid battle going on over here. So if we take a look at what's here, we've got some of the Chevalier. Gosh, I completely missed what was going on here. Chevalier fighting some of the Toulouse Chevalier. We're just in time to see a charge on to the Toulouse Client and then a counter charge from the Toulouse Chevalier. So a huge cavalry fight has erupted over here out of nowhere. But this is good. That actually ties down all of Azrian's cavalry. I believe this is all of it. We've got some of the militia spearmen moving in. That's not good for my cavalry. I probably want to get them out of there. I did send up a unit of pikemen, but they are being obliterated by those archers. Azrian really focusing those pikemen down. I've got more sergeants coming in to counter the spearmen, though, and hopefully save my cavalry. My sergeant's not looking too hot at the moment, and that counter charge on my French Chevalier has left them not in the best position. However, me charging the flank of the Client has also got Azrian wavering, so it's a very close fight over here, I do have to say. Both of my other units of French Chevalier are kind of tied up with a lot of my infantry, just trying to force my way through with numbers at this point. That's it. Hold strong, men. Hold strong. But once we break through here, there's not too much else that Azrian actually has to oppose me. He does have some pikemen or some polearms still left over here. And then we've got some axe sergeants, albeit they're a little bit depleted. We've got more polearms pushing, I think, over to this choke point here. And we've got, actually, he does have one more unit of Clien over here on this flank, so he must have only committed 3 of his cavalry over here. And thankfully, we do have one of the cavalry units breaking. The second one is actually disengaging from that fight. I think Azrian realizes that it's a losing battle and is going to save that unit for later rather than having them tied up like that. The good thing for me, it's not great that I've lost his Chevalier here, but the good thing for me is that now I can actually flank around these 2 units of militia spearmen and hit them from behind. We do have those archers there, though, that will be focusing my cavalry with everything they've got. And actually, he didn't move it very far away, so he could actually bring it back around. We'll have to see what he decides to do with that. But that's another unit of Clien broken, so that is good. And is he going to move his cavalry away? I don't know. They're kind of doing a little dance back here. I don't know what exactly they're doing. Could be a bit of a pathfinding issue, but I don't want to spend too much of our time over on that side of the battle. Want to take a look again at this wall fight, which still doesn't seem to be any further along than when last we came. Still a very tough fight for the walls. You have to respect the men of Aragon here. Holding back the French wave. All these axe sergeants here just not able to push through. More of the buildings from Toulouse up in flames as well. And where are the archers for Toulouse? France. He has quite a few archers with ammunition still left. In fact, all 6 of them are at half ammunition or even more. I would continue firing. We've got some pikemen down here that could be shot at, some depleted infantry, but I think that eventually Aragon is going to be worn down. You can see that a couple of the French units pushed up. They are just pretty much still at full strength, and a lot of these units have been fighting since the very beginning of the battle. Some more units of the dismounted Hidalgos are breaking. We've got 2 units of spearmen wavering over here. That is not good. If we zoom over to the other side, you can see I did get some pretty solid charges on the backs of those spearmen, breaking them, which is excellent. Got the militia spearmen here for Toulouse surrounded. What a beautiful fight here. So many beautiful colors. I really love the models in 1212. I think they've done an excellent job. Did that horse just do a kill animation on that guy? Did you guys see that? It looked like he was actually approaching the horse from behind, and the horse like double kicked him in the face. I didn't know that horses could do kill animations like that. That is amazing. Oh yes, I love the fighting here in the center though. The cavalry just slicing and dicing their way through the spearmen. The spearmen just with their numbers forcing the cavalry back. Some of their brethren in arms breaking from the battlefield as well. That's gotta be disheartening if you are just seeing your brothers leaving the battlefield basically and just leaving you to die. And these spearmen too, they're pretty much surrounded because there's a barricade over here, so they can't even escape through that direction. And my cavalry is blocking their escape to this direction. There we go, come on. Good thing, too, about those archers firing for Azrian is that he's getting quite a bit of friendly fire into the backs of his spearmen, which is definitely what I need. Oh, but there we go. Yep. Some of the shots that are going overhead of those spearmen getting some choice hits on my Chevalier, and I'm actually going to disengage them from that fight, as you can see. All my cavalry riding away, trying to get out of there. Oh, but a couple of them being taken down as they try to escape. The spearmen are really trying to break my cavalry as quickly as possible. Did they break from the battlefield, though? No, not yet. They have held on, though. Well done to them. 12 minutes left in this battle. I want to keep my cavalry alive. You can see, yeah, a lot of it is very depleted. I've come over here, I've captured this gatehouse so that we won't have any of the towers firing at us. And I'm just basically sending this unit around to make sure that nothing else from Azrian Fox is here. Because the last thing I want is for us to be fighting close to the town center to get rear charged by another unit of cavalry. But here come the archers. Firing at my spearmen there. I believe that's my Brabanzonin spearmen. Or Brabanzonin spears. Going to take out this barricade. And then get started with the final push to the town center itself. It's actually a really cool thumbnail. Very nice. Brabanzonin spearmen pushing in. Archers, enemy archers just volleying from the top there. I think they are actually volleying my pikes, though. They're not focusing my spears. Or they could be actually going after my sergeants. That would be a pretty good idea. Oh, no, he's actually evacuating them. And then we've got some more spearmen from Toulouse pushing forwards as well. For when I break through the barricade, there will be a barricade of human bodies there ready to hold. And he's still intent on holding there because he actually is trying to hold on to the center position as well. You can see he's sending in some axe sergeants there. Sending in my French Chevalier to try and punch through that gap. Let's zip on over and see if any more progress has been made. And not, well, actually, yeah, we have a pretty big rout here from a lot of Aragon units. As we have some of the Brabanzonin spearmen coming up onto the walls, we've got some fresh axe sergeants also being pushed forwards. And I think the army of Aragon is running out of steam at this point. So it's starting to look pretty good for the French player. Finally going to be capturing those walls very, very soon. However, it's just crazy. Look how much of the city I've conquered on this side, all because there was just really little defense on those walls. But for this French player, he's had such a harder time trying to get into the actual city center itself. Balance of power, though, is in our favor. We've got 7,700 remaining. They have 4,900, so it still is a pretty even battle. However, we've got more of the militia spearmen breaking over here. We've got those heavy axe sergeants probably slicing and dicing their way through these lightly armored and poorly trained spears. Come on, men, hold! I don't know why I'm rooting for the defenders, but I just am. Hold, men, hold! Oh, the axe is just hitting with such force into those shields that it just knocks them back. Come on, come on. Yeah, but that is a really significant chain route there. That's a lot of Aragon units that have broken from the battlefield. Now, is their general still alive is the question. He could have broken, and that would be why... Yeah, he could have broken from the battlefield, and that's why we have experienced that chain route. I don't see him on the battlefield. Is it any one of these? No. Where is his general? Where is Peter II? Oh, is this him here? Yeah, here we go, here we go. So he's over here, and he's still alive, the general. Maybe. I'm not sure. Hopefully he is, though. Hopefully he can inspire his men to continue the fight. And just look at this. I'm so depleted over here at this point. I'm sending some fresh units of Brabanzonin spears to challenge the Gusemier de Commune, but we've got some of those Arbaletiers up on that little sub-wall of the town center. And of course, he still has his 3 elite units of dismounted French Chevalier, and we have Raymond of Toulouse as well. So it is still a very close fight. Got the pole arms forming up there. Got a spearman kind of walking through. I don't know where he's going, but whatever. And there we go. My spearman moving forwards in shield wall. And going to attack the... Oh, it actually got the pole arms a little off guard there. They weren't actually formed up there. Interesting. But now we have engaged that polearm in melee. Have we attacked over here as well? Yes, I'm pushing through a lot of my units, trying to overwhelm the French spearmen, the militia spearmen. I've also got some units kind of moving on the flank there, but Azrian again with the arcing shots, starting to slaughter my French Chevalier here. You can see a lot of my units are coming back from routing, and I'm just trying to send them right back into melee. But at this point, I've decided I'm going to bring some of my arbalètes up of my own and get some volleys into those axe sergeants there. Azrian is going to try and countercharge that as well, so I'm going to bring up a fresh unit of pikemen to defend my crossbows. Very, very bloody in these streets here. Looking over as well. Yes, okay, so the French have conquered a decent section of this wall, but unfortunately they still don't have any way to get off the wall. Because of these towers that were destroyed, these two staircases are now blocked with rubble, so there's no way to get off. And this one over here is still held by the Crown of Aragon. Same thing over here, this one's still held by the Crown of Aragon and any subsequent stairs behind him. So the walls are being conquered by the French, but also not really, because Aragon still holds the key positions. But there we go, we're starting to see a lot of wavering and breaking from the Crown of Aragon. This is not good if you are rooting for the defenders. And those volleys coming up and over once again, I wanted to try and catch that in time. Some of the best shots of this battle are just these pike units being obliterated by the French archers. And look at the crossbowmen, too. They're, like, shocked. They're like, oh, my goodness. That was a unit of 40 men, and now it's down to, like, what, 7? Absolutely brutal. And look at that. That's so cinematic, too, on the walls. We've got some of the Brabanzonen spearmen that have conquered the walls of Toulouse, and they are moving over to probably aid their friends or their brethren on the far side there that are... Oh, actually, they're kind of resting. Yeah, the French Chevalier, they've kind of conquered things. It's just a big fight over here, where the axe sergeants are still trying to slaughter a lot of the peones of Aragon, and finally get a foothold inside the city. For this entire battle so far, guys, there hasn't been one unit of Frenchmen on this flank that have set foot on the grass. It has been a complete wall fight from the beginning, and that is just amazing. My archers have used up all their ammunition as well, so I sent them in to silence those Peonese armored crossbowmen. And I've got some of the axe sergeants moving around this flank here. I blocked this with a unit of pikemen. We do have some cavalry over here that is charged into mine. I'm sending some spears to try and counter that, and I want to block this unit of cavalry in, if possible, with my pikemen. But I feel like Azrian would turn around and countercharge. Is he not? Or I guess he could actually slip away this way here. And the crossbows are there as well. Oh, and look at this. He's actually sending a unit of dismounted Chevalier to capture, or to actually pen in my pikemen there. So now I have to send my axe sergeants over there as quickly as possible to save my pikemen. But I'm just going to continue pushing them into the cavalry, and I believe, yeah, he is just going to break away there, which is okay, because then I can in turn turn around my pikemen to face the Chevalier. But I think Azrian's just going to play the carousel game here and bring these units all the way back around to hit my axe sergeants. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. One of them is wavering, though. The very depleted cavalry, I do have to say. 7 minutes left in the battle. We have the Chevalier actually turning around and debating my axe sergeants over into the path of the Chevalier over here from Toulouse. If we could look on the other side here, I do have 2 very depleted units of cavalry, but I think my only other one is over here. The 4th one has just broken. And there we go, the Chevalier trying to escape the range of the archers up on the walls there. I've got another unit of archers that has got their sights locked on those very elite units for Toulouse. And these axe sergeants over here, they can't actually form any form of shield wall, so with that in mind, I'm trying to move my Brabanzonen spearmen over here in time to save my axe sergeants from charging. I've got my pikemen formed up as well. Their pikes are down. And here we go. Let's actually zoom in here and see the charge of the depleted nobility from Toulouse. This looks like it will be pretty disgusting. Yes, because I couldn't actually form shield wall in time with my spearmen as well. That was a very huge charge from a depleted unit of cavalry like that. We've also got another unit breaking through as well, so it could just be a cycle charge with one unit moving in and one unit moving out. But there we go. My archers focusing that cavalry down and annihilating it. Over here as well. Yes, well done. And what's that? That guy flying right off his horse. And the horse is actually being killed as well. And here we go. Another good charge from the Chevalier coming in. Again, my spearmen not able to form shield wall and just being thrown back. Oh my goodness. A couple of them are hitting my pike units, though. You could see some of them were actually falling over top of my pike formation. And again, as the Toulouse cavalry are drawn in, yes, they do get a good charge off, but then they are just annihilated by my archers that are up on the walls. There we go. Yeah, knocking him off as well. Another one. And we have an enemy general fallen. Who is that? Is that the Aragon general? Yes, it is. Okay, I had known he was over here at one point, but it looks like the general has fallen over here in this big blob of men, and that should surely cause the Crown of Aragon, or the men of Aragon, I should say, to abandon this cause and try and escape the battlefield. I don't think that after all of that fighting that they're going to have much of a heart left to continue the fight. If we put it onto play, you can already see, yep, a lot of wavering going on over here as soon as the general has broken. Yeah, wavering, all of the units wavering except for these two at the very end. Of course, there is probably some army losses coming into play as well. From the Crown of Aragon, again, pretty much committing 100% of his force to that wall fight, and with 6 minutes remaining in the battle, that is the full break. And all of the men of Aragon are abandoning the battlefield. And the French axe sergeants are just going to slaughter them as they try to escape. Let's go ahead and take a look at this fight, though, because things are pretty intense in this center fight here. There we go. Let's actually put this on slow motion. I'm going to get a retribution charge onto the backs of the Toulouse Chevalier. Oh my goodness, yes. Really solid charge there with what remains of my cavalry, but again, archers being used to combat it. Toulouse archers just volleying up and over those buildings and causing some pretty heavy casualties for my cavalry. I also need to pull them out of there too. I don't want them to be fighting in prolonged melee like that. And I believe that we do have, yes, Raymond of Toulouse moving down over here. So he has been activated. He sees that things are kind of getting desperate. And with the abandonment of his ally, Peter II, and his army have completely run off the battlefield, he has no other choice now but to actually get into melee and begin fighting himself. Over here as well, you can see we've got a lot of axes versus axes, Chevalier versus Chevalier, French versus French. Let's put this back onto play here. Not too many men left on the battlefield, so it is speeding up a little bit, but it is still quite framey. We do have a lot of dead bodies on the battlefield. How many men are actually left in this? If we take a look, 5 minutes remaining, 6,600 to the French attacking forces, and only 1,700 to the defenders. Yeah, with the loss of Peter II, that has really hurt the Cathar cause there. Basically outnumbered them 3-1 at this point, but here we go. And actually, I need to go back onto slow motion once again to see this charge from Raymond of Toulouse. This is going to be absolutely disgusting. Yes, here he goes, turning around all of my units. This is like 3 of my healthiest units here. Can see my spearmen. I am trying to disengage my pikemen from the battlefield, but it is just too late. Look at that charge there. And where is Raymond? Oh, he's actually at the back there. He's the one without a helmet on. So as they do pull out, he's probably going to lose a couple of his bodyguard, but that should surely cause some routing for my 3 units. And I do try with my depleted units of French Chevalier to get a counter charge there and lock Raymond of Toulouse in melee. And actually, we did get a couple of kills there, charging on in. Same with this unit coming in, although it looks like the formation has broken a bit, because we're just actually going to charge almost past the Toulouse general's unit. There he is, actually counter-charging us as we move back in. But has that broken my units over here? Yes, 2 of my 3 units have broken, and the 3rd one isn't too far away. However, we finally have the other French forces making their way into the city, and also some very healthy and much needed cavalry. You have to remember that this player over here, the French player, he couldn't use any of his cavalry. He had no way to get them inside the city. He just now captured the gate to get his units in. But now we've got all of the men of Toulouse pretty much surrounded at the steps to the great palace of Toulouse over here, if you will. So things are pretty desperate over here for the county of Toulouse. Look at the ruined buildings over here as well. Push in, men. You can do it. All we need is for them to break on one flank. We just need them to break on one flank. Over here again, Raymond of Toulouse getting a really disgusting charge on my axe sergeants there. Yep, breaking them from the battlefield as well. He's up to 276 kills, a brave count. Definitely a brave count. Where is the other French cavalry? I need your help. Quick. If he actually gets around over here, he could charge the backs of my Brabançonne spearmen. That would not be good, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I have thrown chivalry out the window, and I'm now trying to volley his general with my archers at this point. Come on. Yeah, you could get a charge off on here. Come on, Raymond of Toulouse. Is he gonna go for it? I can't really tell. I think he's actually hiding his unit at this point. Oh no, I've got the King of France moving in. Yes. Aha. So he decided against it because then he would actually be caught in melee with the French king. And where is the French king at this point? Where are you? There he is, actually right at the forefront. He sees Raymond of Toulouse. I could just hear him screaming across the battlefield. Like, Raymond, you coward! Come back! Face me in open battle! Okay, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be doing any of my terrible accents. But there we go. The French king has made it into the inner city. And it looks like Raymond of Toulouse is just going to run away like the coward he is. Although we do have some of the reinforcing French cavalry coming from this direction as well. So the French king is going to form up and congratulate his counterparts on finally making it into the city. Even though I'm sure the French king will take full credit for the victory that will be achieved here. And yes, I'm using my crossbowmen pretty effectively here. Perfect line of fire into the militia spearmen, trying to break through this flank here. I don't really have anything to back it up with, though. I'm pretty much down to my crossbowmen at this point. And here as well, really trying to push through, but the sergeants and the dismounted chevalier holding very strongly. There's a really solid charge there from that French cavalry. Good charge. We've got another one actually sneaking right through and getting into the archers of Toulouse. Well done there. And I think that with that charge into those archers, it's kind of put the nail in the coffin, if you will. Because now those archers have been locked up in melee. He does have 2 units of crossbowmen, but that's the only 2 units aside from Raymond of Toulouse that have not been engaged in melee. So they really don't have anything to counter this cavalry at this point. And of course, I'm sending my French king into these archers as well to try and silence them. Where is the French king? Where are you? Only 2 minutes left in the battle, so let's really enjoy some of the cinematics before this does end. And actually, apparently, according to the recording, this is actually about an hour long, so we've really managed to spread this battle out and give you guys a lot of good cinematics. So hopefully you did enjoy my utilization of slow motion. So feel free to let me know down in the comments below if you thought it was too much, maybe too little. I'm always happy to hear feedback on my battles and what I can do better. But yes, just look at this scrap here. You can barely tell who is who on this battlefield. We've got French fighting French pretty much everywhere. And here we go, actually. It looks like we've got Raymond of Toulouse. He is going to have to commit. He's counter-charging some of the clients there of the early period. And now Raymond of Toulouse is pretty much fighting side by side with the remainder of his men. We've got the clients over here as well, just muscling their way through those crossbowmen. I think they're trying to go after this unit of crossbowmen here as well. And I'm pretty sure, actually, if we can just slow this down, I'd love to see Raymond. Where is he in this fight? There he is, actually. He's right there. So I just want to keep an eye on him since there's only a minute left in the battle. Let's see if actually he is slain on the battlefield or whether he does survive. He is definitely in the thick of things. You can see that he is covered in blood from head to toe. Oh, where is he going? Where is he going? Let's keep an eye on him. We've got some axe sergeants there. I don't know if that's friend or foe. Come on. He's like fighting inside this bush here. Oh, more of the cavalry charging past as well. That looks amazing. Yeah, Raymond, he's fighting, I think, a unit of clients over here with his bodyguard. Got the French flag in behind him as well, so I guess he is starting to become surrounded. He's like, come on! Rally to me! To me! Where are you going? Oh, now he's kind of surrounded by some axe sergeants here. That's not good. He's just going to ignore them, though, and just press forwards. Where are you going? Where did you go? Oh, that is so awesome! He's actually broken away from his bodyguard, and it's almost like he's trying to rally his men to hold for a little while longer. Oh, that is awesome. I really love that. Ah, Raymond of Toulouse. A man of the people. Has this unit broken, though? Surely it has. Yes, it has. That is unfortunate. So 26 seconds remaining there. We'll go ahead and put it back onto play. So we'll keep an eye on him there, but this is a victory for the French and a victory for the Cathar Crusaders. And he's trying to push through there. I think he will probably die as he tries to get through the formation. It's just too tightly packed. Or maybe he will survive till the end of the battle, and it's like we'll never know whether he died or not. And there we go. So yes, it could be that Raymond of Toulouse did actually survive that battle. But it was, as I said, a victory for the French. So let's go ahead and take a look at the end results. Alright guys, here is the end results, and almost all of the players each almost brought 6,000 men to the battlefield, so that was a very, very large battle, so I hope you guys did enjoy. But we'll take a look at my fight versus Azrian Fox, because both of us kind of squared off on our one side of the city, so pretty mediocre kills for most of the units up here, I would say. Where I got most of my kills was with my dismounted French Chevalier. You can see 225, 300, 250, 203, and then all the other ones getting well over 100 kills. Archers doing excellent, 326, 296, and 376 there. The crossbowmen, they did okay, I would say. However, you could see that they are quite healthy, and I didn't really commit them until the final bit. So one of them getting 109 kills is not too bad. Cavalry did alright, most of them over 100 kills, and this one over 200 kills, and my trebuchet getting 227. Looking at the county of Toulouse, Raymond of Toulouse there, 325 kills. That is insane. Very good job with his general. The rest of the cavalry, not so much, though. I mean, this one got 140, but usually Azarian does a lot better with his cavalry. His crossbows did pretty well. His archers did pretty well. Everything else is mediocre, I would say, except for one of his axe sergeants getting almost 200 kills. So very nicely done. Looking at Khalid versus Babylon on that slog on the walls, it was so epic. I don't think I've seen a tougher wall fight in a battle than that. But yeah, axe sergeant's doing pretty well for Khalid. His spearmen doing also pretty well, a couple of them getting over 100 kills. Pikemen weren't even committed, and the polearms, 398 for one of his French chevaliers, the rest of them getting over 100 kills bar one. His archers doing really well. A lot of those kills were on the Spanish pikemen as well, but 206 on one, 190, so that's pretty good. And his cavalry doing very well, especially since being committed at the very last 5 minutes of the battle there. 229, 194, 224, and he got 226 with that trebuchet. Looking at Babylon, his spearmen didn't do too good. Those pikemen were annihilated, which is very unfortunate. But the dismounted Hidalgos did pretty solidly, I would say. Most of them averaged about 70 to 80 kills, so that's pretty good to see. His crossbows, though, if he had brought archers, he would have got a lot more kills than that. It is unfortunate, but just crossbows, if they're not up on the walls or they don't have a clear line of sight, they just aren't really that effective. So unfortunately, they didn't get as many kills. And his cavalry, really unfortunate for him as well, because I was focusing it down with my artillery, and I just don't think they were in a healthy enough state to get many kills once they were committed to the fight. But that is finally it, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.